Uh-oh, what's going on here? So this plot ended its whisker early at 72 and then put a dot here. That's because this is an outlier. This is someone who was 6'5", with the next closest height being 6 feet tall. So we would say that this person's an outlier. Now, how do we calculate that? We use our IQR. Our IQR was, remember, 66.5 minus 61 equals 5.5. My upper limit for outliers, or in other words, anything bigger than this number we'll consider an outlier, is Q3 plus 1.5 times the IQR. In this case, that's going to be 66.5 plus 1.5 times 5.5. I will plug that in a calculator. And this tells me my upper limit for outliers is 74.75 inches. So anything bigger is an outlier. Similarly, we find the lower limit by taking Q1 and subtracting 1.5 times the IQR. So in this case, that's 61 minus 1.5 times 5.5. And that equals 51.75, or in other words, anything smaller or lower than this is an outlier. Since that 77 is the only data point that is outside of that range, it's the only outlier. And we always mark outliers with dots and then use the next smallest or biggest point as appropriate to be the end of the whisker. So this is how we check for outliers, is by using these formulas. I would take a minute and copy them down into notes to help you remember them if needed. This is our upper limit and lower limit on outliers. Now, as I mentioned before, some people put lines on the end of their box plots and some people don't. This is one where they just don't put the line at the end, and it's a stylistic choice. These box plots represent scores on a 10-point quiz given to 3 different classes. What can we tell about each class from the given plots? Well, let's read off some numbers. Here, Q1 is 4.5, the median is 6, Q3 is 8, the max is 10, the minimum is 2, so this class had a decent median. This one had a median of 7, a lower quartile or Q1 of 5, an upper quartile of 9, a max of 10, and a min of 0. And this one has a min of 0. Q1 is at 1.5. The median is at 6.5. The Q3 is at 9, and the max is at 10. So notice the length of the box can help tell us about variation. The fact that this box right here is so wide tells us we have lots of variation in here. This class may have had a pretty good median, but there was a good portion of students between 1.5 and 6.5, and a quarter of the class is in there. Whereas that second quarter is only too long right here. This one has less variation in this quartile. So this can help us talk about where there's variation, where there's consistency, and where there's inconsistency. This top one probably has the least variation, even though it has the lowest mean. So those kids are probably all around the same spot. This one has the most variation. So we have some kids that are doing well, but we have a lot that aren't doing well as well. This is why a lot of grading programs will display box plots of student grades to help teachers interpret the data. All right, I hope these videos were helpful. Message us if you need help on the homework.